Well, I don't know about you, but it seemed like perfect timing to begin a new year. A new year when the world as we knew it seems to be falling apart. To sit down and to read again this powerful and poetic story of God's creation in the book of Genesis, beginning the year with chapter 1, verse 1. You don't have to read it as science to hear the blessing and the beauty in these words and to feel its exquisite symmetry of those 7 days. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep, while a wind from God swept over the face of the waters. God's wind, God's spirit, God's breath. In the Hebrew, the word is ruah. Ruah. It's a sound we don't even have in English. It carries the breath, though. For first, there was nothing. There was nothing but the black, empty vacuum of atomless space. And then, like the tiniest ripple of a breeze before a storm, and then the ruah of Yahweh rippled over the face of the waters. It was as if before energy became mass, it took a breath. It sucked in the power of nothing, like the clearing of a throat, and something happened. God spoke. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. One infinitely dark, infinitely massive causal singularity exploded 13.7 billion years ago, like the pistol shot at the starting line of time, and a vast universe was set into motion. God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. God's creation is good. It is orderly. It's timely, I think, that tonight our middle school youth group is going on that outing to look up at the heavens, to study the patterns of the stars in their orbits. For many of us, I know in these recent past months of uncertainty and change, much of what we have come to rely upon as solid or stable has been shown to be a lot more like a dark and formless void as it stretches forward into the future. Some of you I know have lost your jobs or investments. Some have suffered dramatic declines in income or are expecting new rounds of layoffs. Some I know are struggling to sell homes or reduce your debt burdens through refinancing. And others, God bless you, have told me that you have had to be the ones to deliver the bad news of the layoffs or the foreclosures. Many of us I know are suffering under the strain to our families that these difficulties cause, intensified worries and arguments, these that threaten to bring about health complications or even violence and divorce. Well, I must confess it has been getting to me too, just the tiniest bit, perhaps more than it should have. Coming from a newspaper editor's family, I must admit I spend slightly more time each day reading the bad news from the paper than I do spend reading the good news from the Bible. I spend a larger portion of my day listening to your concerns than I do lifting those concerns to God in prayer, in spite of what some seem to think. I don't spend my week on my knees in this meeting house. Perhaps I should. And as you know, as we attend many church meetings, we have a tendency to focus more on our problems around here and how to solve them. Things like our malfunctioning heat. Thank you, church house. Thank you for solving that problem. But we could just as well spend more of our time thanking God for the blessings that we experience in this place. It's all too easy in our lives, both here and outside the church, to slip from thankfulness to worry, to slide from praise into complaint. It's all too easy to start to allow the darkness to overcome the light. But that's why I am so grateful to be called here to this Christ Church here at this crossroads in Brookfield, where in 251 plus years of rain and snow and sleet and hail, the good news of God's love for the world has never failed to be delivered. I understand that in this meeting house, on some of the stormiest Sundays in our history, that the worship has been sparsely attended, but it has never been canceled. That is a record I think we can be proud of, but more than that, I think it's a recognition of the sacred trust that we hold in our community and in our world. So I hope we can begin this season of Epiphany with a kind of dawning upon us of what an honor it is as people of faith to be called not only to be stewards of our beautiful green planet, but also to be stewards of the good news that God revealed to the world in Jesus Christ. In the face of all the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune that history has flung at us, we stubborn and stiff-necked people of faith have continued to get up and proclaim hope to the hopeless. That gift to the world that we offer is something we can celebrate. We stand in a long line of God's faithful people who dared to come out throughout whatever terrible storms life brought to them, to sing out our hymns of praise. I love now that I get to be one of you, sturdy New England Congregationalists. In the South, we wore Easter dresses to Easter sunrise services. But I got to stand on a rocky hillside wearing every piece of clothing I owned to feel the hard grass crunch under my feet as we stood together to proclaim the good news of the resurrection of Christ in the dark before the dawn.